Welcome. Our top story this hour, the U.S. Secretary of State has wrapped up his visit to Moscow, saying that Washington does not want to isolate Russia. John Kerry met with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Lavrov as the two sides prepared the ground ahead of Syria peace talks scheduled for Friday.
Today we met here as a matter of good diplomacy to try to solve problems.
So Washington appears to be toning down its earlier calls to put pressure on Moscow. RT's Ilya Petrenko asked John Kerry if his visit was a sign of a thaw in relations.
The final press conference of the day just ended upstairs, and my question to John Kerry was what happened to the isolation of Russia that President Barack Obama boasted about throughout the year. When international leaders are talking intensively with Russia, and you are here on Russian soil talking with the Russian president, where is that isolation? And was it premature to proclaim that isolation back then?
Well, let me answer the question by saying this. We don't seek to isolate Russia as a matter of policy, no. But we have consistently said that the world is better off when Russia and the United States find common ground and an ability to be able to work together.
Last year, however, Washington made isolating Russia a key policy goal.
Russia is isolated.
Russia seems to be quite isolated globally.
We will ensure that this isolation deepens. The isolation,
isolation,
political isolation of Russia.
There is no objective to isolate Russia. It is not a goal to isolate Russia at all.
Vladimir Putin kicked off the meeting with John Kerry with a little joke about his busy schedule.
Уважаемый господин госсекретарь, мы видим, сколько усилий вы прилагаете для урегулирования ряда очень острых проблем. Мы успеваем за вами следить, за вашими перемещениями. Вам нужно выспаться, я вижу.
As we saw, RT's Ilya Petrenko was at the Kremlin following the talks. He posted this picture from behind the scenes. On the left is Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova, with AP correspondent Matt Lee in the middle and Mark Toner from the State Department on the right. Lee, known for his challenging questions to Toner, told Zakharova he'd like to come to one of her briefings one day, while Toner warned her that Lee is, quote, really tough. And earlier on the day, John Kerry held talks with Russia's foreign minister. The two diplomats are known to get on well. This time, Kerry lightened the mood of the meeting by demonstrating some Russian language skills.
Spasibo.
And you may have spotted who else was there at the negotiating table in Moscow. Victoria Nuland, one of the fiercest critics of the Kremlin in Washington. The Assistant Secretary of State for European Affairs could perhaps be excused for feeling a little awkward, given the barrage of accusations and harsh rhetoric she has previously directed at Moscow.
We have to maintain pressure on Russia.
The Assad regime continues to barrel bomb its own citizens with impunity, perhaps even emboldened by Moscow's help. Russia's new direct combat role in Syria.
Those countries on the alliance's eastern edge that worry that they could be the Kremlin's next victims.
Well, Victoria Nuland seemed to be in a less combative mood on the day as she accompanied John Kerry on a stroll round Moscow. A spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Russia posted pictures of the pair walking down the city's historic Arbat Street. Nuland was actually there in May and was spotted with the U.S. Ambassador John Teft in one of the cafes. As for Kerry, he popped into a souvenir shop, and here's what happened as he left.
Hi.
How are you doing? I'm good.
Hey, sir.
Pretty good.
I'm good. My name is Samir. I'm from Egypt, actually.
Nice to meet you, Samir.
Yeah, nice to meet you. So,
Anybody from Moscow here?
Moscow?
yeah.
From Moscow.
Pupils.
Because my English is not so good.
Your English is very good, much better than my Russian. So, do I want to?
Do you want to wish something to Russian people?
Do I want to say something?
To wish something, Mr. John, to wish something to Russian people.
I want to wish that the Russian people and the American people are good friends and that our countries come together in peace.
Wow.
All right?
Former U.S. diplomat Jim Jatras thinks there's rising awareness in the West of the need to talk to Moscow.
There has been some moderate change in the tone. It's a little less insulting, a little less hostile, and I think that reflects the degree to which so-called isolation of Russia simply hasn't worked. Remember a few weeks ago at the G20 meeting in Antalya that Mr. Putin was one everybody wanted to talk with. He was everybody's favorite dance partner in Antalya. So he is not the pariah that some American policymakers would like him to be, but rather he is the sought-after essential partner, including for a lot of America's allies. One thinks, for example, Mr. Netanyahu going to Moscow right after the Russians began their air campaign in Syria. So, yes, I think there's some awareness we need to talk to the Russians, but then that gets down to the question, talk to them about what and agree on what, and unfortunately, I don't see a whole lot of change in the American position so far.